G'day folks, welcome to Backyard Legends with Bevo. I'm your host Bevan Jones, where we talk to some absolute legends, from celebrity chefs to superstars of sport and entertainment icons. They tell us about the windows that they broke while playing backyard cricket, to building amazing tree houses and slip and slides as well, and how they relax in their backyards today. So pull up your deck chairs, put your feet up and get ready for some ripping stories.
Welcome to Garden Master, the home of quality sheds, celebrating 50 years of Australian-made quality and backyard expertise. We offer a range of products, sheds, aviaries, animal shelters, shade houses and more, all built to last with our 25-year structural guarantee. 5 decades of craftsmanship and passion have created the Garden Master legacy. Join thousands of Australians who trust us for their backyard needs. Visit gardenmaster.net.au today to explore our range and redeem your special anniversary offer. Australian made, Australian quality, Garden Master, the home of quality sheds.
Tom Damin, welcome to Backyard Legends.
G'day, Bevo. How you doing, mate? Yeah.
Great to have you on the show.
No, thanks for having me.
You've got some of your beautiful products there. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so like my little passion project for quite a lot of years now has been Smoky Pastures Barbecue. So started off as just myself and my best mate. We worked together and getting towards dad life, needing a bit of a backyard hobby, but still being quite competitive in nature. We stumbled across competition barbecue. And so we've done some barbecue competitions, events and things like that. And then just sort of thinking about how can we try something different. Like when we started doing this, there wasn't a lot of seasonings for that sort of thing available on the market. There's lots now, but you know, we're talking like 2018. We thought, well, let's start coming up with our own seasonings and playing around with flavors and things like that. And so, yeah, I just started making rubs and seasonings at home, giving out samples to mates and stuff like that to get them to try them. And eventually, like, yeah, got good feedback. People sort of saying, hey, you know, can I buy some? And yeah, I found a co-packer. So I have someone who helps me with the packaging and the distribution. But I've come up with the, you know, the different flavors, the different blends, recipe ideas, things like that. And so, yeah, the Smoky Pastures Barbecue, we still do the odd barbecue competition. But yeah, we've got 5 different seasonings in the range. And we also have a product that's a bacon cure, so making your own homemade bacon. And so, yeah, they just, yeah, all different types of proteins, just like you'd use your everyday like master food seasonings. These are, you know, exactly for that. So,
can't wait to give it a try, mate. Thank you so much for bringing those in. Hey,
no problems. Yeah.
You're also a pit master and a barbecue leader.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two, and tell us a bit more about them?
Pit master's kind of a little bit of a self-stylized title, and sort of really talks back to that American barbecue roots. The barbecue competitions we were doing were like low and slow American style barbecue. And, you know, the guy who's in charge of the cooking traditionally is called a pit master. So when we were sort of doing our competitions and doing the barbecue rubs, that title of pit master sort of harkens back to that. But really anyone who's, you know, in charge of their barbecue is their own pit master. That's the way I like to see it. Whereas a barbecue leader is actually an official position, and that's my day job. So I work for Weber Barbecues Australia and New Zealand, and I work at our Weber Grill Academy. So pretty much 5 days a week, we run classes and experiences, some for public, some for private events. And basically I lead those experiences, hence I guess the term barbecue leader. And I'm technically a grill specialist, and basically just teach people how to use our awesome Weber barbecues and run them through, you know, anything from basic barbecue classes to team building experiences and everything in between.
How good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. It is a very fun job. It is a very fun job.
Can't wipe the smile off your face. I love it. You're living the dream.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to lie. It is pretty much, you know, dream job. I will say that. Yeah.
And when did you first start cooking as well, Tom? And was there someone in the family that influenced you to get into it?
Yeah. I mean, both my mum and dad, really. and growing up in our household, it was always Dad does the protein and usually out on the barbecue. Mum does everything else inside. But Dad's operating under Mum's orders, right? She was the director. Mum's grew up in the southeast, so country family, or generations of great home cooks. And Mum's, always inspired me to get creative and get cooking. And then Dad's sort of been the one that sort of really got me on the tongs. So my preferred way to cook anything is on the barbecue. Doesn't matter whether it's baking a cake or chicken wings. It's got to be on the barbecue.
Speaking my language.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, it was really Mum that inspired a lot of that sort of, culinary adventure and the flavors and the seasonings and trying new things. She'd often buy me, I found this really nice sauce, or I found this awesome like pepper or something like that. And she's always, thinking about, creative things with food. And so, yeah, big influence there. But dad was I grew up cooking on this big 4-burner flat plate job that he actually built himself. Oh, yeah.
How
So
cool
for
is that?
years I grew up cooking on this barbecue that he actually was a homemade barbecue. And yeah, I don't know, I've always loved it. I've always, it's my go-to. If I'm cooking for a group of people, it's going to be on the barbecue.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
I remember the other night as well, I was at home with the missus and she's like, I can't be bothered doing a barbecue. Let's just cook something on the frying pan. I'm like, no. I'm putting my foot down here.
Yeah,
and it just tastes so much better, like chicken kebabs, sausages, you name it. It's just amazing. Absolutely agree with you.
It's not hard work either. Like for me, I find it easier because, if you cook something like that, especially in the fry pan, especially if it's a bit fatty, house smells, grease, spits everywhere, like makes a big mess. Like the barbecue, you're finished, give it a bit of a grill brush, turn it off, and
you're done.
It's all good. Like you've got your area, grease goes down into the drip tray. Like it's actually easier to just do it all on the barbecue. And, I don't know what your backyard's like, but I've got, a nice little veranda, undercover area. Yeah, it's a little bit cold, but I don't stand out there the whole time.
Yeah.
Just got to put a bit of food in, come back inside. I don't know. For me, I don't know. I do it as a job, right? So I clearly don't find it that hard. Love just firing up the barbecue, literally for any excuse, really.
And for me, you've got to have a beer while you're cooking the barbie as well. Are you like that as well?
No, well, look, actually, interestingly, like I used to overindulge a little bit. So I don't drink anymore. But you generally find me with a coffee. Okay. So I'm a bit of a coffee fiend these days, and for me, I actually love just a nice latte or cappuccino to go along with my barbecue. A little bit not traditional. Little bit not traditional. I was sort of lean towards my American brethren, and I don't mind a nice iced tea.
Right.
A nice iced tea.
You're probably one of the first people I've spoken to that cooks a barbie and has a nice tea at the same time.
I know. It almost feels like it's un-Australian, but
not at all.
Yeah. There are actually a couple of like zero alcohol beers these days that aren't too bad.
Yeah, I have one every week. Yeah.
So I don't mind partaking in a zero, but I don't touch the alcohol anymore.
Yeah. No judgment for me whatsoever, mate.
Look, it is what it is. Yeah.
I want to ask you a question about. You just mentioned before overseas people, and always this reputation about the Aussies doing the whole shrimp on the barbie kind of thing. You obviously spent some time overseas as well.
Yes.
What do overseas people think about Australian barbecues, and is there that whole persona about thinking that we're doing the whole shrimp on the barbie, or is that just a bit of an old school thing that people used to say?
It's funny. I think obviously Hogs and Crocodile Dundee and the ads and everything like that. I think we remember that a lot more than other people. Like, I think most other places, like our Pommy friends, probably are aware of our tradition of having a barbie. Although they actually like to get on the grill pretty, a fair bit as well. It's just they have a lot less of the days of the year where it's appropriate to do so. But the Americans, they've got no idea. Honestly, they have no idea that it's even a thing down here. they just kind of live in their own world, you know? And so what I will say about Australian barbecue and when they find out about it, what really surprises those other cultures is how we are this like melange, like this collection of all these awesome different cultures and really just this melting pot. You know, we've got the Mediterranean influence, you know, the Greek and Italian influence, but then we're still doing this, you know, American stuff. We're still doing British sausages, but then all these Asian flavors as well. And really, like, when you go around the world, you see barbecue is everywhere.
Mm.
And then you come back to Australia and you can find every kind of barbecue in Australia. So I don't know. I just think most of the world has no idea what we do, but we do a really good job here of bringing it all together.
I've heard that as well. Like, you can't go wrong with an Australian barbie for sure. So
No,
yeah.
no. Yeah, it's pretty common to find like buffalo American chicken wings next to peanut sautés next to Cumberland sausages, you know, like literally 3 different continents coming together on the one Aussie barbecue. It's pretty awesome.
Well, you mentioned the Americans, and obviously their thing is that the slow cooked barbecue. What do they think about the way the Australians do it, though?
Oh no, look, don't sell it short. There's parts of America where it's all about the low and slow and the smokers and and everything like that, but they love to grill. All right, so for in America it's a little bit more defined. Barbecue is generally what they refer to as the low and slow American style stuff. But then they do a lot of grilling, which is, you know, steaks, sausages, burgers, like all the same stuff that we do.
Oh,
yeah.
So they do the old Bunnings thing where the sausage is bread with onions and.
I don't know. They're probably more likely to smoke a sausage, but yeah, certainly like burgers, certainly like you know, a lot of the steaks and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. I want to ask you a question as well, because as you mentioned before, you've been a big part of Weber for a number of years now. They say that Weber actually revolutionised backyard grilling back in the 1950s.
Yeah.
What were people doing before that, though, Tom?
Yeah, super good question. And I love that bit of research as well. And so 1952, and we know a lot about the brand history. We're really, really proud. Weber's an American company, but it's been in Australia since 1978. But in 52, the Weber kettle was born. And really the key defining feature of the kettle barbecue and Weber's way of barbecuing is lid down cooking. So pretty much before 1952, barbecues didn't have lids. So they were like charcoal pits with just like a cooking grate or very, very simple gas setups like just a burner and no real way to either cover the food to either keep the rain off of it or trap the flavor in, or do something like roast in a barbecue. So without a lid, you can't roast in any of these barbecues. Webercue, kettle, they all have lids. You can roast in them. That was the big game changer. So creating something that wasn't just a barbecue that you grilled on, something that you could actually, you know, roast, bake, do all the things that you could like an oven, but in your backyard. So, yeah.
An interesting thing as well, like, thanks for explaining that. But
That's
talking about the history of the Weber, and I just love, you know, hearing these stories as well. And the actual Weber itself, the idea came from a boy in the ocean, the actual design of the Weber. Is that true?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So Weber Brothers Metalworks was where they were made. And the guy was George Stevens. So the business then became Weber Stevens Proprietary Limited, still family owned today. And yeah, so George had a big family and didn't, you know, really rate the way that he couldn't cook outside or couldn't really cook a lot in it. And, you know, if it rained, it was a problem. And yeah, pretty much he was building these marine buoys. So Chicago, they're on the Great Lakes. There's lots of these buoys that are floating up and down in the water. And his idea was basically, well, what if I just cut one of these in half? I've got a bottom, I've got a lid, poked a few holes in it, and the rest is history. And realistically, like 52, the Weber kettle went bananas, like everywhere in America. He took it on the road. It started selling like hotcakes. And then in 78, a guy by the name of Ross McDonald, he was an Australian guy from right here in Adelaide. He was in the States came across the kettle, and he was the guy that actually brought Weber to Australia.
Unbelievable.
And so, yeah, it's such a cool story. Part of like working at Weber is you hear this story retold countless times, right? And we retell this story countless times, but I love it because it is such a good story. Like it's innovation and exploration, and yeah, it changed barbecue forever.
Hey folks, do you love your footy? Are you over 35 and want to be part of something very special on Anzac Day in 2025 in Gallipoli? Well, check this out.
The Slugs plan to play men's and women's games here at this soccer ground, the closest to the Gallipoli battlefields during the 2025 commemorations. The idea to make it spectacular, to fill this entire area with Aussie Anzac pilgrims. Vincent Malia tours with the Southern Slugs. Footy, he says, is perfect to honour the Diggers.
They would love it, I'm sure, because it's bringing Australia over there, isn't it?
I can imagine people after a couple of drinks trying to tell the story and then like told in different ways as well. So
yeah, look, I mean, we have a bit of a joke, and I'm gonna curse myself because I can't exactly remember how many kids he had. But one of the points is like, you know, George had a lot of kids, and you know, I've heard it go from like 9 to 11 to all of a sudden George has 13 kids. You know, it's like Chinese whispers. Like George's family grows with every telling of that story, but I think it is actually 11. So yeah.
I'll take a word for it.
We'll go with 11 today. Yeah.
Whilst on the topic of Webers as well, Tom, I've heard a story as well that they're actually unkillable. They're the Terminators of barbecues. Is that true? Yeah,
like one of our problems is as a business is that we have to come up with new products because the old products last for so long. And like we'll find ancient Weber kettles in backyards out there. You know, I'm sure you're going to talk to a lot of people in these series that have a Weber, like a kettle in particular, in the backyard. And it's because they're enameled steel. So the real secret is the enamel keeps them completely rust proof. So unless the dog knocks it over or something, and unless you chip that enamel, they'll never rust.
Wow.
So yeah, you've basically got aluminium legs and an enamel steel construction. And yeah, people misuse them, leave them out in the weather, like you name it. I've seen them turned into flower pots, people repurpose them for all sorts of things.
That's amazing.
But they will stand the test of time as long as that enamel stays intact. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I've got one that's as old as I am. So I'm 38 years old.
Jeez,
and
I've got 38, mate.
Oh, thanks, mate. Thank you. But I've got a 1986 model kettle, so it's as old as I am.
That's amazing.
I don't know a lot of people that own something that they use still.
Yeah,
that was made the same year they were born.
That's actually incredible.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Speaking of cool things, you mentioned before just having a bit of a chat off air, and you've had some interesting things over the years involved with your role working with Weber and what have you, and your love of barbecues. What's the strangest meat though, or the strangest burger that you've had, Tom, and why?
Not that long ago, I actually tried a camel burger.
What?
Yeah, I know, right? So it wasn't as bad as you'd think. Like it was actually pretty normal. And yeah, it was part of like a taste testing to see whether, camel meat could be used as a substitute for, say, beef or, typical more widely used proteins. And so I didn't know it was camel meat when I tried it. But yeah, it wasn't actually too bad. Like it could have used a bit more seasoning. Maybe a bit of smoky pastures might have improved the flavor profile there. But as a meat, it was passable. Yeah, it wasn't as gamey as, say, like goat or venison or something like that. But very lean.
What do you compare it to, mate?
I don't really know. Like it was like really, really lean beef. I would say it was more like beef than lamb.
Right.
Like I've tried, goat. I've had lots of lamb. I've had lots of beef. And I would say probably more on the beef end in terms of the flavour. Like it wasn't a really strong flavour, but just super lean. Like a lot of those game meats, they're really, really lean. Yeah.
And what is it that you love most about cooking as well, Tom?
Apart from eating, like, I just love food. I love trying different things about food. But I think what ties me back to why I do the job that I do is I love sharing food with people and sharing the knowledge as well. So when we cook our barbecue food, especially the stuff we do at Weber, it's not like chef level stuff. Like I'm not a chef, I'm a barbecue cook. We do stuff that's simple but done really well. And often people come along to one of our classes and they get inspired to do the same thing at home. And I think especially when we hear back from people that have been to one of our experiences and then recreated it at home and shared it with their family, friends and stuff like that, that's probably the biggest, thing that I really get a buzz about.
That's
But,
awesome.
sharing food is just, it's such a good thing, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of foods and different things as well, have you ever tried the recipe of pavlova on a Weber? Because I can't believe that this is actually a thing.
Yeah,
but
mate. Yeah. Mate, today I baked brownies in the Weber.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. No, but we do all sorts of stuff like smoked cheesecakes, pavlovas, trifles, like you name it. Like pick a dessert, we have cooked it in the barbecue, or we just grill ingredients that get turned into desserts. So we do like grilled pineapple that gets topped on our pavlovas, or
That's
grilled
amazing.
peaches that gets turned into like a sorbet. Like you name it. Like you can add a touch of barbecue to any dessert, or just do the whole dessert. In the
You got me
barbecue.
hungry just thinking about it. I want to actually try your
mate,
pavlova in the Weber now.
It's really good. Yeah.
Can you buy it from your store or?
No. If you come to one of our classes,
Yeah.
or you book a private event at the Grill Academy,
Yeah.
we can do you a pavlova. Yeah, you got to come to us.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
What's been the most difficult thing that you've made throughout your time, Tom, that I guess you nailed or you might not have nailed because it was just so difficult?
Really good question. I think especially when it comes to the competition cooking as well, because that's where you're really actually getting judged and you find out whether people liked it or not. Like nailing a brisket. So brisket's a part of a beef cow, and basically it's a particular cut and it's cooked in a particular way, really traditional in Texas. And sort of for low and slow barbecue, it probably takes the longest out of any of the cuts to cook. And I think it has probably one of the highest degrees of difficulty. It's like one of those sort of nemesis things for your backyard barbecue guy. I don't know whether it's because it's like a big piece of meat or it takes 12 hours and you've had too many beers by the end of that 12 hours and you sort of lose track of what's going on, or I don't know what it is, but it's often like the real nemesis for people. But like when I've nailed a brisket and it's come out perfect and you slice it, it's almost fall apart, but you can get a slice of it and bend it over your finger and show people and squeeze the juice out of it, and you get that wow factor when you really nail that. I think that's like almost your proudest barbecue moment. And then we've also won a couple of trophies for brisket as well. So we've got 2 first place brisket trophies in competitions. And they're probably the trophies that I'm the most proud of. Yeah.
So you should, especially if they're so difficult. That's something very much to be proud of. So
Yeah.
I want to ask you as well a question. Again, this is just like I'm just learning so much and amazing stuff doing research about chatting with you today, Tom. And you can actually apparently cook a barbecue now using a remote control. Have you ever tried doing this? And what's this about?
Yeah, look, I mean, you still got to put the food in the barbecue. But like there's a lot of basically technology that's being incorporated into barbecues these days. So often it's putting a meat probe into a barbecue and then using like a smart barbecue. Like we have, for example, a pellet grill called the Weber Smoke Fire. So it's electronic thermostat controlled. You just set your temperature, you put in wood pellets, burns the wood pellets as fuel. And essentially you can set the temperature and then control the whole barbecue unit apart from physically taking in and putting in and taking out the meat. You can control the whole thing wirelessly from your phone.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. And then there's an app on the phone that will give you the full recipe instructions, step-by-step guide on what to do. It'll give you a predicted cook time. It'll tell you when the food needs to come out of the barbecue and when it's ready, and take you through the whole cooking process. Like you just go roast beef, medium, and hit go, and it'll literally take you through the whole step-by-step process.
It's absolutely insane.
It is crazy, but and this is kind of the sort of stuff we encourage people with, because it's actually with the technology that's available, not just on the barbecue, but on the internet. You know, it's never been easier to get into this style of cooking. You really just got to take the plunge and have a crack.
Have a go. Yeah. And I want to ask you about the Grill Academy as well. When people graduate from the Grill Academy, is it true that they get the square hat and also the robes?
No. Look, they're only short courses, okay? We do as Weber staff, we do get trained, and we have what's called the Grill Specialist program. And so there's kind of a series of coloured jackets that you wear as you progress through and you acquire more barbecue knowledge. So I'm just a grey jacket. I'm at the bottom rung at the moment, but then you can graduate into like a red, blue, and eventually have a black jacket. We only have one black jacket in Australia. Her name's Laura. She's our grill master.
Right.
She's the only one in the Southern Hemisphere. There's a few in the Northern Hemisphere. America and Europe have a few grill masters. But she's literally logged and documented thousands of hours on the barbecue to attain that level. It's only really recognised within the Weber community, though, so it's not like an official, bachelor of grill master, unfortunately. But it's pretty good street cred and bragging rights. If you've got a black jacket on and you're at a barbecue event, you're gonna stick out.
Hey Tom, we could speak all day, mate, but thank you so much for coming on Backyard Legends with Bevo.
Appreciate it, mate.
And thanks for bringing your beautiful products in as well.
Oh, no worries. Enjoy, mate. Pleasure to meet you.
And once again, just give your business a plug.
Yeah, so check us out online, Smoky Pastures Barbecue, Instagram and Facebook. You can buy it in a lot of good butcher shops around Adelaide, a couple of different supermarkets. But yeah, range of different rubs and seasonings. And if you follow along, plenty of recipe content as well. You won't be uninspired if you give us a look on socials.
Love that. Good on you, mate. Thanks so much.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.